Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could I ask the clerk to report House Committee Sub?
Clerk will take the roll. Being 74 members voting aye, 24 members voting nay, House Bill 334 is passed. Gentleman from Pulaski.
Mr. Speaker, I move the clincher.
Without objection, clincher is applied. Gentleman from McCracken.
Mr. Speaker, I move you, sir, that House Bill 340 be taken from its place in the orders of the day, read for a third time by title and sponsor only, and placed upon its passage.
Motion's made and seconded that House Bill 340 be taken from its place in the orders of the day, read for the third time by title and sponsor only, and placed upon its passage. Clerk, please report.
House Bill 340, an act relating to medical and cosmetological services and declaring an emergency. Representative Dixon.
Gentleman from McCracken.
Mr. Speaker, I yield to the gentleman from Henderson 11 for explanation of the bill and motion thereon.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Henderson for explanation of the bill and a motion thereon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could I ask the clerk to report House Committee Sub 1 to House Bill 340?
Clerk, please report.
House Committee Substitute 1 to House Bill 340.
Gentleman from Henderson.
Move for adoption.
Motion is for the adoption of House Committee Substitute 1. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, nay. House Committee Substitute is adopted. Gentleman from Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the body. House Bill 340 addresses an important issue that exists in our Commonwealth as it pertains to patient safety and overall health of the patient when receiving medical aesthetics. Medical aesthetics is the fastest growing area in the personal care sector as more individuals are turning to preventative care, cosmetic care, rather than corrective surgery. Currently, there is no oversight for facilities that offer medical aesthetic services in the Commonwealth. There is large loopholes in the existing law that creates a Wild West type atmosphere and compromises patient safety. House Bill 340 simply allows the Board of Cosmetology to inspect and oversee these facilities as defined in this legislation as medical spas. The Board of Cosmetology already has the authority, staff, and resources to quickly provide oversight. This legislation does not include services provided by facilities that are owned by a hospital, an educational institution, a facility, or an office owned by a plastic surgeon or dermatologist. House Bill 340 allows existing businesses to be grandfathered in under this law as of July 1 of this year. The House Committee sub that we adopted simply adds dentists to the list of licensees and some corrective language in the bill. Mr. Speaker, at this time I have a floor amendment that I need to call. Could you have the clerk please report House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 340?
Clerk, please report.
House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 340.
Gentleman from Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Floor Amendment 1 is our continuing effort to improve this legislation by adding optometrists to the list of licensees and define the licensee scope of practice is consistent with and is not to exceed their scope of practice as of this past January 1st, 2022. Mr. Speaker, I move for adoption of Floor Amendment 1.
Motions for the adoption of House Floor Amendment 1. Is there any discussion? Lady from Jefferson 3040, you wish to discuss the amendment or the bill? Motions for the adoption of House Floor Amendment 1. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, nay. House Floor Amendment 1 is adopted. Gentleman from Henderson.
Mr. Speaker, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, I move passage of House Bill 340 as amended by House Committee Substitute 1 and House Floor Amendment 1.